So today's Gemara wraps up a story we began yesterday, where David would get up at midnight and he'd studied all from midnight until dawn, and then the sages would come in and consult with him. Let's say a nation needs sustenance. Say, okay, so go and sustain the nation. Make the commerce happen, it'll happen. They'd say, no, but we need more than that. A lion is not satisfied with a single handful of food, and a pit is not filled with rainwater. So it implies that you need to really fill a pit with water, you got to pipe in water from elsewhere, and to really fill a nation with sustenance, you got to pipe in resources from elsewhere. So at this point, King David understands that message, and he says, go and arm the troops and get to battle. So the sages then will go and consult Achitophel, the king's advisor, to make sure, and then the Sanhedrin, the High Court of 71, and then the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, and his Urim V'Tumim, his glowing breastplate of divination, and then war it is. And the Gemara tells the story. It's a Haggadah, and then says, what's the source for this? What verse gives us a basis for this story? And here's Rav Yosef with the answer. Amar Rav Yosef says, Rav Yosef, Makra, what's the pasuk? What's the pasuk? Dichtiv, what's the verse? Dichtiv, it says, Va'achre Achitophel, and after Achitophel, ben Yahu, ben Yoda, of Evyatar, and after Achitophel was Yoda, son of Benyahu, and Evyatar, V'sar Tzava LaMelech Yoav, and the general of the army, the general of the king's army, Yoav. So that's the order. The first character is understood to be the head of the Sanhedrin. The second, the head of the is understood to be the high priest, and then Yoav is general in the king's army. Okay. Then the Gemara goes on to make that case. So this is interesting because it reminds me of a very different sort of phrasing, the strict legal phrasing which we find at the beginning of Masechta Sanhedrin. So in the beginning of Sanhedrin, it says, "Ein moitziin lemelchemes reshus ela al pi beisin shel shivim ve'echad." We do not go out to a permitted war, except upon the mouth of the house of judgment of 71. So except on the directive of the Sanhedrin, except on the directive of the High Legislative Assembly, and that's has obvious modern political equivalence, which I'm not going to get into at all. Suffice to say that God willing, our mouths should be full of Torah, and our wells should be full of peace. And now, with the conclusion of the fast of the 10th of Teves, I think it's time to have something to eat. Many blessings, and may we merit the time of ultimate peace soon.